attention now shifts to the NEC meeting that's currently taking place at the same venue. President Jacob Zuma and the Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa are there, and we cross now live to our reporter Patricia Visagie, who has been tracking this story for us. A very good afternoon to you again, Patricia. What's the latest?
Good afternoon, Simpiwe. As you can see, we're still outside the gates of the St. George's Hotel here in Irene in the capital city, where the NEC meeting is taking place. So really no information coming out to the media in terms of what is happening inside, in terms of what the leaders are discussing ahead of course, the much anticipated national elective conference of the ANC that will be taking place in perhaps just a little under 2 weeks right here in Gauteng, of course, as we know. But we also understand that some members of the SACP who form part of the NEC have just a short while ago also joined this NEC meeting. Of course, we know the tensions that has been widely publicized between the ANC and the SACP. So perhaps there as well we'll see the two organizations trying to, of course, iron out their issues in terms of, ideological differences that they may have encountered throughout this year. And, of course, the ongoing tensions that we have seen between the ruling party and the Communist Party. So that as well, perhaps they will pay attention to that. But we do understand that the main focus remains, of course, preparations for the upcoming national elective conference, and also to consolidate all the information that has been coming out from the various provinces, the nomination lists that has been tabled so far from the provinces that have concluded the nominations for their preferred candidates in terms of who they would want to take up the reins next, of course, replacing President Jacob Zuma as party head. So it's really perhaps the last NEC meeting that may take place before we go into this big conference that will take place. So a lot of issues, as I said earlier, on the table, but preparation remains the focus, and also to look at the organizational report by the SG, Mr. Gwede Mantashe. Of course, that report focuses more in terms of looking at the party's performance over the last year, and also the party's performance since the last national elective conference in Mangaung. How has the ANC performed since Mangaung? How has the party performed in terms of implementing some of the resolutions that were adopted during the last elective conference, and where has the party perhaps missed the step, failed, and what should be corrected, and what policy changes perhaps should be implemented, and the policy related issue in terms of them maybe discussing around that links up to us knowing, of course, that the various provinces has also submitted perhaps their policy mandates that they would like to have tabled at the national conference that is coming. So all of that information is forming a part of today's NEC discussion. And of course, the issue around some of the tensions that we have seen coming from some of the regions, coming from some of the provinces, the Eastern Cape being top of the agenda. And we know that, as I said earlier, that Zbu Ndebele has been tasked to investigate, especially the issues in the Eastern Cape in terms of what has led to some of the ANC members in that particular province even turning violent against each other just for positions, and also the issue around factionalism in the party itself. That needs to be discussed. Of course, that forming the message to appeal for calm, peace, and unity as all the provinces gear up for this big conference. As we know, of course, it is the ANC's 54th national elective conference, and it is perhaps one that comes with a lot of things that one does not really know what might happen. So it's unpredictable, as we have seen that a lot of unpredictable elements have been coming out from the regions, from the branches, from the various provinces in terms of what the party is hoping for, what some of the members are calling for, and some of the policy directions that seems to have a lot of differences in the party, of course. So that seems to still be the issues that may be dominating the NEC meeting. But as I said, the top of the agenda remains the organizational report that needs to be discussed, because that will be able to give a clear indication as to where the party needs to draw the lines in terms of course, creating a proper blueprint of what will be discussed during the National Elective Conference, and what will be the mandate from the various provinces. But so far, no tangible information that is coming out from the leaders that are inside. And of course, we know the NEC meeting will wrap up tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll probably have a media briefing where they will outline exactly what was discussed, what is the direction that they are taking to the National Elective Conference, what has come out from the various provinces, where are their teething issues, and how exactly will they be resolving those issues that are still outstanding. You know, in the Free State, there's still a lot of outstanding issues there. So, of course, the NEC meeting needs to also table that to see how they can guide those delegates and, of course, those provincial leaders in terms of what they can do to make sure that they resolve their issues as quickly as possible before they go into the upcoming elective conference. So, yeah, that is more or less, I think, how we will wrap up today. And going back to the Gauteng PGC, that, as you mentioned earlier, that is also coming to an end today. We have not had any feedback, of course, from the Gauteng leadership in terms of what they have discussed, what they have agreed on in terms of their policy blueprint and policy mandate that they have submitted to the NEC leaders here. So later, I think in the day, we will get maybe feedback in the form of either a press release or they will maybe, loosen up the grip a little bit and speak to the media in terms of what they have decided. But I think for now, we will leave it at that. This is perhaps our last crossing for the day until we come back tomorrow again. For now, I think it's back to you in Studio Simpiwe.
Well, thank you so much, Patricia, for your comprehensive update on the ANC NEC meeting, which is currently underway at the St. George Hotel in Irene, just outside Pretoria. As she said, it is the last day of the ANC Gauteng PGC meeting, and which is preceded by the ANC NEC meeting, which will end tomorrow.